Cutting the salt from your food will not save your life if you continue to blindly ignore the true silent killers that are destroying your veins. Salt is just the tip of a massive metabolic iceberg that is hiding deep inside your body. When you get a high blood pressure diagnosis, the very first automatic order you hear in the doctor's office is to completely cut out your sodium immediately. But I need to urgently warn you that following only this blind advice is going to be your biggest health mistake. My name is Edu Rodriguez, and I am a pharmacist, a biochemist, and a dedicated health educator, besides being a proud member of the Brazilian Diabetes Society. More importantly, I have been living with DM1 for over 26 years of my life. I know exactly what it is like to have a paralyzing fear of the severe complications that these chronic metabolic diseases can bring to our lives. That is exactly why I made a point of bringing all my scientific background to explain the absolute truth to you today. The huge problem is that the vast majority of patients leave the clinic terrified and start eating completely tasteless food in their own homes. And the most frustrating part of this journey is that, even making this daily sacrifice, their blood pressure simply does not drop at all. This happens because the basic advice of merely cutting sodium completely ignores the real internal reasons that caused your blood pressure to skyrocket in the first place. Sodium does indeed have the biological capacity to increase your blood pressure temporarily after a meal. It does this because it acts like a powerful magnet, pulling a massive amount of water directly into your bloodstream and increasing your circulating blood volume. It is exactly as if your blood vessels were garden hoses and you suddenly turn the water faucet to maximum power. This specific part of the medical explanation is true and makes total sense in theory, but what almost nobody tells you is what happens right after that. In a truly healthy human body, the natural defense and balance system works in a brilliant and flawless way. If your kidneys are working perfectly well, they immediately sense this dangerous increase in pressure inside your veins in an almost instantaneous manner. As an immediate biological response to this danger, they begin to eliminate all the excess sodium and excess water through your system. As this dangerous excess volume leaves your body naturally through your urine, your arterial blood pressure begins to drop and stabilize immediately. It returns to its normal and relaxed state without you needing to make absolutely any major physical effort or dietary sacrifice. It is exactly because of this wonderful cellular mechanism that many people manage to eat salty foods their entire lives without ever developing high blood pressure. So, if your pressure remains dangerously high even after you have completely cut out the salt from your kitchen, please pay close attention. Your body is giving you a loud and very clear warning that your internal filtering and regulation system is broken and desperately crying out for help. The main problem is no longer just the tiny amount of sodium you are swallowing during your lunch or your family dinner. The real and immediate danger is how your broken metabolism is handling those nutrients on the inside. And this is where the true causes finally appear. The first major hidden cause that I always evaluate carefully as a pharmacist and biochemist is your daily intake of magnesium. Magnesium plays a role that is absolutely vital and irreplaceable in the healthy and natural regulation of your blood pressure 24 hours a day. It works like a powerful biological conductor that directly increases your natural cellular production of a gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a wonderful substance that acts as a true natural relaxant, deeply soothing the muscular walls of your veins and arteries. When it is properly released into your system, your blood vessels widen so that your blood can flow easily like a calm river. But when your magnesium levels are dangerously low, your blood vessels become hard, incredibly stiff, and much more constricted than normal. This frightening vascular stiffness forces your poor heart to beat with much more force and desperate effort just to keep you alive. Your heart has to exert an excessive and constant force to push the vital blood through such narrow pathways, and this makes your pressure skyrocket. The reason I constantly hammer on the importance of magnesium is because modern magnesium deficiency has become a massive global epidemic. Impressive and very serious clinical studies show that almost half of all adult people cannot even get the minimum necessary amount of magnesium nowadays. And a large part of the blame for this nutritional disaster lies in the specific type of artificial food we buy at the local supermarket. We fill our plates daily with products packed with refined grains, hidden processed sugars, and highly processed foods that inflame the entire body. These packaged foods are completely empty of the essential minerals required for the basic maintenance of our human life and longevity. And the situation gets even worse, because the excessive consumption of sugar literally forces your body to expel and lose its little magnesium through your urine. Even if you eat a diet full of healthy foods that are rich in magnesium on paper, you could still be severely deficient right now. This happens without you even noticing because modern and aggressive agricultural practices are depleting the vital minerals from our soil at a very fast rate today. The food that arrives on your dinner table looks exactly the same as it used to, but it is deeply poor from a nutritional standpoint. A fresh spinach leaf today has only a tiny fraction of the precious magnesium that the exact same food offered to our grandparents a few decades ago. That is why I strongly recommend that you prioritize real foods like nuts, raw seeds, and dark leafy greens in your daily meals. But, as a healthcare professional, I must state that many people benefit in an extraordinary way by using a good quality daily magnesium supplement. If you currently suffer from resistant high blood pressure, having an open conversation with your doctor about this supplementation is absolutely fundamental. Recent clinical studies prove beyond any doubt that supplementing with magnesium promotes fantastic and very safe reductions in your arterial blood pressure. If you are already finding this deep scientific information revealing, do not forget to click the like button right now to help our channel. Your like is very important because it tells the YouTube algorithm that this is a vital health class that needs to reach and save more people. Now we really need to talk about insulin, because it is easily one of the most dangerous and completely ignored hormones in your body. The vast majority of people associate insulin purely and exclusively with blood sugar control and the daily management of a diabetes diagnosis. But the dark and hidden truth is that insulin has a devastating, silent, and direct impact on your cardiovascular health and your blood pressure. When your insulin levels are chronically high circulating in your blood, your kidneys receive an absolute emergency command to immediately retain sodium. They simply stop releasing sodium into your urine and begin to aggressively hoard all of it inside your swollen body tissues. Along with all that trapped and useless sodium, your body also retains a massive volume of water that forcefully swells your legs, ankles, and veins. As a direct physiological result of this forced retention caused by insulin, your arterial blood pressure rises rapidly to very alarming levels. And the most frightening part is that this entire explosion of vascular pressure happens in your body, even if you put absolutely no salt on your food. That is exactly why people who suffer from prediabetes, insulin resistance, DM1, or DM2 almost always struggle with high blood pressure too. The massive hormonal imbalance caused by your body's severe difficulty in processing glucose creates the perfect inflamed environment for chronic hypertension. And it is for this exact same biological reason that blood pressure usually plummets very quickly when your circulating insulin finally drops. This healing process happens in an almost magical and liberating way, often weeks before the patient even begins to lose weight or drop their first pounds. You do not need to lose dozens of pounds to see your blood pressure drop in a significant and life-changing way. You just urgently need to decrease the exaggerated amount of insulin circulating in your bloodstream and causing all this complete chaos in your renal system. It becomes very clear that cutting out ultra-processed foods and refined carbohydrates helps to control your blood pressure much faster. Doing this deep nutritional cleanse in your diet is infinitely more powerful and intelligent than maintaining a sad, tasteless, and completely salt-free diet. Eating a little extra salt might even cause a very small and temporary spike in your pressure throughout your busy day. But it is the chronically high and completely ignored insulin that transforms this simple dietary detail into a dangerous disease that will follow you for life. And it is exactly right here that the famous and poisonous industrialized fructose enters the scene to make everything much worse for your heart. Artificial fructose is a very cheap and simple type of sugar that the food industry uses excessively as a highly addictive sweetener and preservative. I am not talking under any circumstances about the natural and harmless fructose that comes perfectly packaged inside whole, fresh fruits. I am talking specifically about that high fructose corn syrup that fills up boxed juices, dark sodas, artificial sauces, and supermarket sweets. When you consume a massive amount of this artificial fructose, your liver goes into a complete state of toxic shock and metabolic collapse. As a failed biological defense mechanism, your liver starts to produce a lot of uric acid as a toxic byproduct of this industrialized sugar overload. And the dangerous excess of this uric acid in your bloodstream is one of the most aggressive and deadly factors in triggering your high blood pressure. Severely elevated uric acid acts as a true and merciless blocker of nitric oxide, which is that natural substance that should be relaxing your veins. With the natural cellular relaxation completely blocked, your veins become even harder, stiffer, and much more dangerous as time goes by. In my daily practice, helping thousands of diabetic patients, uric acid is one of the most crucial laboratory tests that I always advise everyone to investigate, especially if they have stubborn high blood pressure that simply does not go down with any kind of traditional medication from the pharmacy. I have personally seen countless fantastic cases where blood pressure returns completely to normal simply by eliminating excess fructose from the daily diet. If the initial and strict change in your diet is not enough, some doctors will use specific medications to actively reduce this dangerous uric acid. But the central and most encouraging point of this biochemistry class is that you can fix all of this at the true root of the problem by changing your plate. If you make the firm and highly intelligent decision to cut out added sugars and packaged poisons, you will win this health battle. You can completely resolve your terrible insulin resistance once and for all, and at the exact same time, plummet those dangerous levels of uric acid. It is absolutely remarkable how fixing just these two basic metabolic foundations can rapidly reverse your arterial blood pressure back to normal. Resistant arterial hypertension is almost never caused by a single, huge, isolated mistake that you made during one bad weekend of eating. It is the painful and cumulative result of several small, invisible inflammatory stresses that accumulate every single day inside your body. Now we need to assemble the final great golden piece of this complex metabolic puzzle, which is usually ignored by doctors, which is wonderful potassium. Potassium is a fantastic essential mineral and acts as your greatest biological protector, working tirelessly on two crucial internal fronts. First, potassium acts in a surgical way directly inside your blood vessels and also in your kidneys, acting as the great natural rival to sodium. It deeply helps to relax the stiff walls of your veins and strongly commands the kidneys to expel all the excess sodium into the urine. Basically, potassium completely neutralizes and fights all the terrible fluid retention that sodium causes, instantly relieving the heavy burden on your exhausted heart. Secondly, and this is the most fascinating part of all human biology, potassium acts deeply within your brain and nervous system. When your cellular potassium levels rise in a healthy way, it drastically decreases the excessive activity of your anxious and sympathetic nervous system. This is your body's primitive emergency alert system, which artificially accelerates your heart rate and raises your blood pressure during stress. By magically calming down these intense neurological signals, potassium acts as a formidable natural tranquilizer for your entire cardiovascular and nervous system. It permanently turns off your body's false emergency alarm, finally allowing your arterial blood pressure to rest in perfect normality. And the big, terrifying reason for me to explain all this to you is that the diet everyone follows today has absolutely ridiculous amounts of potassium. On the other hand, modern people consume immense and completely unnecessary amounts of sodium coming from frozen meals and artificial seasonings. This chaotic and deeply unbalanced scenario is exactly the absolute opposite of what human physiology needs to maintain vibrant health and longevity. This profound daily nutritional imbalance alone is more than enough to push your arterial blood pressure through the roof permanently. And when you combine a severe lack of potassium with high insulin, elevated uric acid, and low magnesium, we have the worst possible biological storm. It is this catastrophic daily combination of continuous internal inflammation and lack of vital nutrients that makes the body retain liquids like a sponge. To permanently break this sad and vicious cycle of sickness, you need to start adding more sources of natural potassium to your table today. I highly recommend that you include root vegetables in your daily diet, such as delicious baked potatoes and sweet potatoes. Also invest your money in wonderful fruits that grow on vines or branches, such as antioxidant-rich tomatoes and super hydrating green cucumbers. Do not forget to generously fill at least half of your lunch plate with dark leafy greens, such as fresh spinach and spicy arugula. Also include in your weekly planning those beloved legumes packed with dietary fiber, such as chickpeas, nutritious beans, and real green peas. Besides being true therapeutic potassium bombs to safely lower your blood pressure, they will incredibly improve your entire daily digestion. And if you paid close attention at the beginning of our class, you will remember that all these wonderful foods bring a fantastic double benefit. They will also help you to put much more pure, healing magnesium into your body with every single healthy meal you eat. Of course, this is not the miraculous and definitive list of absolutely all the things in the world that can increase your blood pressure over time. We haven't even talked yet about the massive impact of severe vitamin deficiencies that destroy your metabolism, like a lack of vitamin D. The chronic emotional stress of an unhappy job, the sleepless nights of cruel insomnia, and breathing disorders during sleep also deeply affect your heart. But all of these incredibly important topics will be covered in depth in our upcoming must-see videos right here on our True Health channel. The great and most valuable lesson that I want you to take deeply engraved in your life today is the extreme urgency of resolving these nutritional imbalances. You need to do this right now before the real structural damage happens and your blood vessels lose their youthful elasticity irreversibly. When this severe and advanced structural stiffness takes over your delicate vascular system, reversing high blood pressure becomes an almost impossible medical challenge. Take total control of your health today and take very good care of the nutritional choices you make at the local supermarket. And if this deep knowledge has transformed your vision about your heart health in any way today, please leave a comment down below right now. Tell me from which city or country you are watching me, because I make a point of reading and knowing how far our health education has reached. Do not forget to also leave your honest score from 0 to 10 for our class today, because your direct opinion shapes all our future content. Share this vital video of public utility in that WhatsApp family group where absolutely everyone needs to hear these great medical truths. Subscribe to the channel to become an official student and never miss our next meeting focused entirely on your full, happy, and vibrant longevity. Stay with God. Take very good care of your heart with lots of love. Apply everything you learned today, and see you in our next class.